Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming. My name is Krischan Lehmann. I'm the co-founder of 1E9. And I want to tell you something about our plan to become the Volksfest of the future. I know it's a very bold claim. And I think I start this off by telling you what we do and what we are, basically, so that you understand this plan a little bit better. So our story begins in 2018. On the right-hand side, you see Wolfgang Kerler, who was at the time in 2018 the editorial lead of Wired in Germany, and I was his boss. We were both working for the publishing house Condé Nast in Munich. And suddenly the Wired Germany got discontinued. I won't go into the details, but they suddenly stopped the publication of Wired. And we thought, well, we agreed very fast that the topics the Wired covered wouldn't go away anytime soon, right? It's all about breakthrough technologies, and we decided that we want to carry on with covering these topics and build our own brand. And luckily, we met two other guys, Daria and Herbert. They are both VCs by trade. And they were doing, back in the days, in 2018, they were doing this conference in Munich called DAHORM, a deep tech conference about all breakthrough technologies. And we somehow found that we shared the same idea, we shared the same vision, and we wanted to do something together. And that's why we came up with 1E9. 1E9 is a community in the first place. That's what we had in mind. We wanted to build a community out of, consisting of scientists, artists, geeks, nerds, tech enthusiasts, you name it. Everybody who believes that you can make the world a better place through technology. And since we are journalists by trade, we decided that we want to build a magazine into that community. And we also wanted to do our own conferences and events. Why would we do that? We found that if you talk about the future in Germany, the discourse is always very dystopic. So for example, if you talk about cryptocurrencies, you always end up talking about money laundering, financing of terrorism, and the drug trade. Right? If you talk about artificial intelligence, you always end up talking about an entity that kills humanity, and so on. So I know this is much more differentiated, but you get the gist, right? If you visit the web, and my presentation doesn't work right now. Yeah, if you visit the web, it's full of trackers and ads. I don't need to tell you that. If you go to social media, it's a place that is more or less a parallel world. You go there to get your hit of dopamine, or you go there to get annoyed and envious, but it's a really toxic place. And if you look at traditional journalism right now, there's no healthy business model at the moment. So many journalists are forced to leave their neutral role and step out of their neutral role, go to social media and become their own, become influencers themselves, always driving traffic to their websites. And this, of course, leads to content that is highly emotionalized, sensational, and so on. So we said we want to build a new narrative here. We want to build a place, a safe space, so to speak, for future optimism. And unfortunately, my presentation doesn't work now. I try my best. I drink some water here. Okay, it skipped some slides, but I hope you get the idea. We wanted to, no, I need to go back. So this is what we built. This was our first website in 2019. We wanted to build a website where we would do community journalism, as we call it. So that means that the journalist is basically a medium again between the experts that are out there in our community and our audience. We would cover all topics around, breakthrough technologies. We would do many articles together with the experts in our community, and that's why we call it community journalism. 3 months later, unfortunately it's unresponsive again. 3 months later, we did our first conference. We went to the German museum, das Deutsche Museum in Munich, to start this conference. And I hope the slide is showing up soon, but we named the conference highly original name, 1E9 the conference. It's such a pity that this doesn't work. Okay, now we're here. Okay, so we went to the German museum to do our first conference. We brought all our topics with us into the museum, which was nice because you must imagine that all these different places in the museum, and suddenly you have geeks and nerds presenting their stuff about blockchain and artificial intelligence and all these topics. We had 100 speakers, 800 visitors, and it was really a great success for us. We had also many commercial partners, so we even earned some money. And we went back to our community and look how they would self-describe them. We asked them for a self-description, and it was around 1,200 people at that point. We asked them how they would self-describe them. They would say, I'm an optimist, I'm an enthusiast, an utopist, I'm a visionary. So we kind of hit the nail on the spot. We wanted to build a home for future optimists, and I think this worked out quite fine. And then last year, we had big plans. We wanted to continue our mission together and work together with the German Museum and do our next physical conference. We already had a name, A New Humanity, and then Corona came along. I don't want to go into detail. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody got hit. We got hit as well. All our plans went down the drain. So we concentrated on what we thought we can do best, and that is produce stories and content for our community. Since we're here in a blockchain space, I just want to give you a quick glimpse of the content that we do in that respect, if it works. Here. So me personally, for example, I did a long interview with a crypto-anarchist called Smuggler from Berlin about crypto-anarchism and the role of the nation states in the future. I did an article on the role of the sovereign individual in the future and the question whether we live in digital countries in the future. I went down the rabbit hole of decentralized finance, and I also wrote a lot about NFTs and decentralized autonomous organizations. And this was just a glimpse of the crypto-related content that we do. Normally, we cover all kinds of technologies. Here you can see the top pages of last month. Just to give you an idea, this was our best month ever. We reached around 500,000 people. And what we found astonishing, coming from a corporate background, is that we thought that we produce niche content for a niche audience. And suddenly we found that our articles reach, for example, here you can see more than 100,000 users and find readers, right? If you know German, you can see these are articles about startups launching rockets and flying objects in science fiction films and so on. So this would be considered niche content, but we suddenly found that these find a huge audience. And this brings me back to the idea of the Volksfest. We believe that we have so much to tell to a much wider audience, and that's what we want to do in the future. And if you want to join us, We would like we like that. I come back to that in a sec, but I give you a short glimpse of what we did this year. So we did a conference that we call synthesis in English. We like the idea of bringing different worlds together and finding new ways by contrasting, you know, a thesis and an antithesis, like in the Hegelian philosophical way. And we thought about, well, what kind of speakers should we invite to our conference this year? And you must know that we continued our collaboration with the Deutsche Museum. So we had this place, the old planetarium, where the conference would take place. It's a really nice place. It was abandoned for many years, but we got the permit to do our meetings and conference there. And so, yes, we thought about who could we invite into that building and as a speaker. And Vitalik Buterin, from the co-founder of Ethereum, was on the top of our list, because you must know that das Deutsche Museum houses some of the most important achievements in the history of computing. For example, you have Konrad Zuse's first computers in there. You have the first Apple Macintosh 512K that Steve Jobs himself provided to the museum. And you even have the new quantum, or the first quantum processor from Google called Sycamore. So we thought, why not make the Ethereum network next in line? And why not ask Vitalik Buterin himself to bring Ethereum to the Deutsches Museum? And in the beginning, to be honest, we thought this is a pipe dream. He would never come. But then he decided to do this. I mean, he wasn't there in person because we couldn't do it in a physical space again this year, but he attended our conference in the planetarium via Zoom. And this is what we are basically working on right now. We're trying to find a representation of the Ethereum network that we could put into the museum and make available and you know, make open to the general public. Because I mean, there are millions of people visiting this museum in a year, so in a normal year. So we're really working hard on providing like a representation of that network, a physical representation of the Ethereum network. And we're working together with Vitalik, we're working together with different artists. And our goal, and this brings me to the title of this talk, is another impression from the planetarium that we had this year. This brings me to the title of my talk. And what we really want to achieve next year is to build Munich's Volksfest of the future, to somehow open our storytelling and our platform to the general public, and build a platform, a new platform that, I hope, okay. A new platform that enables all citizens, artists, scientists, geeks, companies, startups, and organizations to be part of this future festival. And of course, we won't do this next year. We want we only do the like the MVP next year. But in the coming years, we want to be the festival, the Volksfest of the future, happening all over Munich. So the idea is to find great places and find great people, and then bring these people and the places together, and build like a huge technology festival all over Munich. And I talked about Vitalik and the Ethereum network. This is our main goal, to start this festival off next year by bringing Ethereum to the Deutsches Museum and start the festival with it. And if you're kind of inspired and want to take part in this, I'm very happy to hear from you. Please get in touch. This is my email address. This is the URL of our website. And if you have any questions, yes, now is the time. But thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Krischan. I couldn't find any question in the chat, but I would have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I really like your project. It sounds really interesting. Like what exactly like are you planning? Like you said, bringing great locations and great people together. It sounds very interesting for a tech festival. How will be your MVP will look like next year, or what is like your little stages? What's your roadmap?
Okay, we're right in the concept phase right now, so I don't have the exact details, but the plan is that we use the whole area down at the ISA. That means the Deutsches Museum, and what else do you have there? Maybe there's a cinema there, right? There's a beer garden there. There's this place right at the ISA there. There's the how is it called? That concert hall. So there are different places right on one spot. And we are thinking of making use of all these places, opening them up to different speakers, to people who would like to do workshops. Maybe there are robots driving around. Maybe we have a mobility partner where you can get some, get some mobility things that you can try out. So we start down at the ISA. But the plan is to, in the end, do it all over Munich.
Like Munich in general, like the region to start small and then to grow.
Exactly. In Munich. Exactly. I mean, we know that that the German Museum already said that they want to still be our partner in the future, so we can make use of the whole area of the Deutsches Museum, and they have lots of interesting places already. But if you think about that area, that there's so much to do, and this is something, that we plan right now.
So you think of course, one day you're gonna become competitor to the Oktoberfest?
Yeah, that actually no. We are realistic enough to know that this is still niche, right? If it's technology driven, and it's very hard to be a competitor of a beer fest, but who knows, right? If you look at what happened to Austin and what the South by Southwest conference did to Austin, the whole place it became one, right? It's one big party and one big festival of the future as well. And we thought Munich is different. It's a kind of a Streberstadt, as you say, right? But maybe let's see what we can do here.
Who knows? I mean, also in Munich, there are a lot of open-minded people for crypto. What would be nice to see is maybe one tent on Oktoberfest, a crypto tent,
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
All the tech people could come and join there. It's like a nice place to hang out and combine all the things which makes fun with tech and business. Could be a really great year. I think we also have like a question from Dominic in the chat. What are the favorite ideas so far for visualizing Ethereum in the museum?
Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, we thought about this really long, and then we thought, let's leave this to artists who know their trade. But I mean, the first idea that we had in mind is just visualizing all the transactions and have a huge kind of, I don't know, how would you say, a huge thing that is up on the wall.
Monitor?
Yeah, not a monitor, a projection, right? A huge projection that could be a kind of 3D-like projection where you see all the transactions going all the time. And then we thought about why should this be a decentralized autonomous organization? So should you be able to join this thing in a way? Or should the museum have a wallet where you can chip stuff into it? So we of course, we didn't come to a final result, but we're working hard with renowned artists to get this going and to find a cool solution for that, because we know it's tricky, right? It's tricky.
Yeah, you could also start creating like kind of a community, like for a crypto project for the Deutsche Museum, so that you're starting with a Discord channel, Telegram group, and everything. What is like, where people also can exchange idea and maybe how to bring Ethereum to the Deutsche Museum. Like I think it's really nice to see like real-time a real-time transaction broadcast, so you can really see like what is going on in the blockchain world in real life, in real time.
Yes.
And yeah, really nice project.
Yeah, thank you.
Super cool. Yeah, I would love to go there one day. Like I'm also originally from Munich, so
yeah, please come along. We're also thinking of actually, and that's why I'm very interested in your opinion on that. We are thinking about making our whole brand maybe become a decentralized autonomous organization, or making the festival even that we have in mind a decentralized autonomous organization. And you have kind of, I don't know, you have your own token that you can use there and so on. So we are right at the beginning, and we know that Web3 is coming, but we also see, of course, that there are not a lot of use cases right now. It's still about trading, a lot about trading and decentralized finance and that stuff. But we truly believe in this technology and think that this will hit the real world very soon. So if you have great ideas for us to try out in the wild out there, then please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, as Dominic just mentioned in the chat, you could build this with unit. So for example, you could, for each project you have, for example, this particular project, you can start kind of fundraising with this, giving token to the people, and incentivize them, with the tokens to collect the funds, and then redistribute like your the profits of, or if there are any, like later on. Could be also maybe an interesting project with units. If you want,
Absolutely.
you can also speak with one of our ventures launchpad. I think Brad is also involved there, and maybe they can also help you with creating a roadmap and see how you can actually implement this or get the funds with the unit network also. This is a tool.
Good idea.
I mean, as you said, you want to create like a minimal viable product, so you can really start super small and just see how it goes by using this technology with not a lot of efforts, like a kind of playing with the technology, getting to understand it. And as soon as you have like a good feeling and you have like some practice with it, you can roll it out next year, like in a bigger event or similar. But that's also like, I think one of our case studies we did also funded with the unit token was, for example, like a shortcut token from Bali, where we actually helped to build up an infrastructure, like a city between a street between two cities, where we kind of helped like funding the whole project. I think so that this could be also kind of like a similar use case for like a community building up like this event like together, or definitely.
Sounds cool. I will look into that.
Sure. We have another question here. As you are a journalist, what is your take on readiness in Germany for blockchain, like the general readiness?
Oh, wow. This is a wide topic. I think, I don't know. The research I did, I think right now that we are far away from having the general public being aware of what it actually means when blockchain technology hit us, right? Will hit us. I think everybody's right now talking about all the speculation that's happening, but nobody really understands the building blocks that come with this new technology. So that we also talk about digital identity, that we talk about, of course, all the use cases that you get with smart contracts, that we talk about supply chain tracking, and so on and so forth. I think all these use cases, they were tried out in some companies, and they did like yeah, they had it in their innovation units. They played around with it, but they are far from adopting anything of it right now. Of course, when it comes to buying cryptocurrencies, I heard the last numbers I heard were that, I don't know, 5% of the population had contact. I don't know if these numbers are correct. But what was the question again? How far are we away from that? Or
what is your take on the readiness in Germany?
readiness.
Readiness,
yeah.
like,
I mean, it depends how you define readiness, right? If I ask around, and I'm older than 40, if I ask around in my peer group, they are not ready at all. If I dive deep into Discord channels and ask the younger population, they are ready, but they only do trading and stuff. So I think Germany is in my eyes, is far behind other countries. I recently went to Spain. That was really interesting, and I got to know like a farmer, and he told me that his whole village is using cryptocurrencies to pay stuff. And he showed me his NFTs from 2 years ago, and he was part of many different DAOs, you know, and he's a farmer. So, and they use that stuff in their village in Spain. So wow. Somehow that was really surprising to me, but it's not surprising that Germany lags behind. On the other hand, of course, I found that there's so many, how do you say that? We were really early, right? I mean, Berlin, even in Munich, there was so much going on in the early days. It seemed that we were really early, then it stopped, and now we're taking off again. But it will take some time, I guess, before we all realize what that really means, that stuff that is coming now.
Do you know what was the name of the village here in Spain? Because I'm located in Spain right now, and I know they are like very crypto affine here.
Okay.
People, but like
it was a really small village in Mallorca, basically. Mallorca.
Mallorca.
Really small village there, and they use Binance Smart Chain. That was interesting as well, because I asked them what kind of tokens they use, and he said, well, we don't like that elitist stuff like Ethereum and Bitcoin. That is just the money of the elites. We use all our tokens run on the Binance Smart Chain. That was surprising to me.
But Binance Smart Chain is also very similar to the Ethereum one, since it's a hard fork.
Yes, it's similar, and of course the transaction costs are much lower, and that's why they use it. But I found it surprising that we already have that distinction, right? The general narrative is crypto is for everyone, but if you talk to people who are not that rich, of course you hear that they say, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum is the money of the elites. We can't use that. It's too expensive for us to send it around, of course. I mean, what do you expect? So they use Binance Smart Chain, yes.
Interesting, like farmers of Mallorca, very advanced, not bad. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you can see it like here in Spain, the people are very open-minded, but also like the different ages. When I talk to my parents about cryptos, they barely have any idea. But I actually kind of convinced them to look deeper in it, and they're also getting interested more and more. And also like around my age, when I talk with my friends, many people think they're still skeptical of all the scams, and I can understand, but I think we're still like some kind of early adopters. And yeah, since you can see that many companies more and more using the blockchain technology for supply chain, for like not only for as a means of payment, but for so many other functions due to this decentralized nature, I think we will see more and more adoption and readiness also in Germany very soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes.